So welcome everybody. I'm Andy Hudson, Development Education Coordinator. This is a Zoom session, a first time we've done it on Zoom to cover how to assign yourself for officiating opportunities. And so I have a few slides and then we'll get into the meat of our presentation. We are going to try to keep this moving very fast. It's kind of a down and dirty presentation, so it's not very produced or slick or anything. So we're just going to get to what we need to know. So again, I'm Andy Hudson, Development Education Coordinator, and we have Bob Pugh, who's a Development Education Coordinator as well, and Don Arias, who's our VP of Youth. And they're each going to be able to introduce themselves here in a little bit. And in fact, we are going to cover our agenda real quick. So Don is going to provide an overview of the assignment process and his role as the VP of Youth. I'll get into the meat of the presentation with the logistics of everything you can see there, how to set up an account, how to schedule yourself for games, date requests, and so on. And then Bob Pugh is going to provide an overview of our mentor program, which is very important, especially for you newer officials. So with that, I'm going to turn it, one note, I apologize. If you have any questions, just use the chat function and we will read the questions as they arrive if they're relevant to the whole group. And we can also answer them via chat, any three of us as the co-hosts. Okay, so now with that, I am going to turn it over to Don Arias. So let me unshare my screen here. Don, you have the floor. Got to unmute yourself. There you go.
Good evening, everybody. How's everybody doing? So yes, I'm the youth scheduler for my HOA. I've been scheduling hockey games at the youth level for almost probably over 10 years now. It's very, I enjoy doing it. Keeps me involved in the game. It keeps me involved with the grassroots development of officials at my HOA. In scheduling, the primary question I always get is, how do I get games? When do I get games? And the best answer I have for you is get on the web and start, plucking away. And when we look at the website tonight, I really want you guys to focus on two main fundamental pieces of the site. That being the putting in a calendar or dates of availability, and then also search for games. I would say 70% of all games are currently assigned via the search for games option under the scheduling tab. And really, the more rinks that you're available, and the more times you're available, and the more weekend availability you have, the more games you'll get. About 85% of all games are played on the weekend. Most teams, Monday through Thursday, during the week, they practice. Okay, they play almost probably 85 to 90% of their games is Friday night, Saturday, Sunday. Okay, if you're not available and you struggle to get times on Fridays and Saturdays and Sundays, then you're going to struggle to get games. The best thing you can do is be very mindful of your schedule. Know the dates that you're available. When you request a game, make sure that you're still available for that game. If you click on a bid and you hit submit, then your bid is good for 72 hours. If for some reason something comes up and then you're no longer available, you need to go back in there and deselect that game because you don't want to be assigned that game. Okay. A lot of times some, guys will get assigned. I had two guys get assigned games today. Oh, my schedule changed. You should have updated your availability on your bid request on the search for games option. That's one of the fundamental errors that we see is just not being mindful with the games that you select. Normally, from October until usually from September until end of February, I schedule in a 7-day window. I know that you can put in for games 2 weeks out. I am most likely not going to schedule those games that are 2 weeks away. I work in 7-day increments. It's a lot easier if I do that and just work in that 7 days. I know from now until next Sunday night, I got most all the games covered. Now, Big Bear Tournament dropped on us today, but prior to that, I had all of this weekend's games covered already. And so now I'll work over the next couple of days to get those games covered. But everybody kind of asks me, when are you going to sign the games that are on the 24th? I go, I'm not worried about the 24th. I'm still worrying about this Friday and this Saturday.
I'm not going to, you never like it when I cut you off, but we're going to get right into the meat of this now, okay? Because we want to do a down and dirty session. We're going to move into the meat of our presentation now, and really get down to how to use our website to schedule yourself. So myhoa.com, if you go to the About, Resources, and Game Scheduling website link, if you click on that, it'll take you right to our page where you can then link to our scheduling site. Another way to get to our scheduling site is to type in secure.oswebs.com/MIHOA. Either way, you're going to get into there. All right. If you do not yet have login credentials, you can request a password by this link right here. And you just click on that. You put in your name, your USA Hockey ID, your date of birth. We do not have a local ID, and your email. This triggers an email to Hardy Woodward, who's our website administrator, and he will get you set up with credentials. That should happen automatically as people get certified by USA Hockey, but sometimes it takes them a couple of days to do that. Okay, so that's how you get your login credentials. Once you have your login credentials, you put in your username, which is usually your first initial, your second, your middle initial, and your last name. And whatever password has been designated to you, you will be able to update your password. Okay, I definitely recommend clicking this box here to remember it, for cookies to remember it and enable it. Once you are logged in, this is the splash page or the announcement page. And this is where important announcements are going to be posted throughout the season. There currently aren't any announcements posted, which usually there's a kind of a grid on here that talks about the calendar request dates. But because of the COVID situation, and as Don mentioned, we are using the search for games a little bit more right now, but any important announcements are going to be on this page. The first thing that you should do is you should set up your personal information. And before you can even get to this, there are some things you need to agree on, like the code of conduct, excuse me. You will have to agree to our code of conduct, so make sure to look through that. You'll have to agree to the officiating guidelines, so make sure to click on that checkbox when you get it. The privacy statement, independent contractor agreement, and then you can go in and change your password. All right, I recommend you changing it to something that's easy to remember. And you can also change your personal information. Important, especially for you young officials. This is an email-based system. So make sure that you as young people are checking your emails. Officials who are willing to check emails and are going to be more successful in getting games. You can also say, send me a daily email when I'm scheduled for games. You can opt into that. You can set up different phone numbers here, and you can receive game day text messages and different offers by text. I will tell you that this system is sometimes unreliable with the text messaging process. I would not rely on this. There are glitches in the system occasionally, and the text message functionality sometimes is inoperable. So I'm just warning you with that. But this is where you put in your direct deposit information. All payments are made via direct deposit. We do not mail out hard copy checks. Kids, if you do not yet have a checking account, or young people, teenagers, this is a great time to get a checking account. Otherwise, you can put it in your parents' account. I'm sure they'd enjoy that. But go ahead and put in your direct deposit information. Okay, moving along. So we've done the personal tab. We're going to go to the scheduling tab, and we're going to go from bottom to the top. First tab that we'll look at is the rink selection tag. These are all of the rinks that we assign games to. And there are some exceptions as far as and some little kind of nuances that I'll tell you about in a second. Okay, you are checking the rinks that you will not go to. It's a little bit counterintuitive there, but you are checking the rinks that you do not want to be considered for. So I live in Kirkwood. If I do not want to go all the way to Wentzville, I can click this here and hit continue, and I will not see games at Wentzville when I do for search for games. You can always uncheck them, all right, and hit continue. think about this. There are games, and like Don said, there's hundreds and dozens, if not hundreds of games on the weekend. So the more rinks you have available, the more opportunities you will have to referee. Please try to expand your horizons. If you live somewhere in the central St. Louis area, I mean, there's plenty of rinks in that area. Some of the outlying rinks, Don has difficulty getting officials to. So if you live out in the Pacific area, for a good example, he would love for you to make sure to be looking at games at Pacific. Same goes with over on the east side at McKendree. That's a great place to skate. So if you're on the east side, you can pick up a bunch of games there. But maximize this as much as you can. Some rinks to just point out that look a little interesting would be the Enterprise Center. Sometimes there are youth games at Enterprise, and there are specific entry procedures to get into the rink. We can get into that once you get scheduled there. Florissant Civic Center is an indoor-outdoor rink, so they typically won't have games until it gets a lot colder. Jefferson City has their own group of schedulers. So unless you want to work in Jefferson City, you can kind of just ignore that. But you'd want to contact their scheduler, which is Sean Deaver out there. Keener Plaza is a little studio rink downtown. So that's pretty much not going to be many games. Old Kinderhook is an outdoor rink that has just youth games, like little half ice games. And then Springfield, Missouri, the two rinks in Springfield, Missouri, they have a separate scheduling group down there. So unless you live in Springfield, you don't really need to worry about being considered for that. And same is the case for Springfield, Illinois, which I don't actually see on here. Usually there's Nelson Center on here for Springfield, Illinois, but there must not be any games there so far this season. So that's the ice rink selection part. Canceled dates. This is something we don't use much, but a good example of when to use this would be, let's say you're going out of the state or out of the country for a couple of weeks. Let's say that I'm going to the Bahamas in the last 2 weeks of November. Okay, I wish I was, but I'm not. But I could pretty much cancel out those entire dates, and that would block off my entire calendar during that time. Okay, I won't see any games during those pinked in slots. So that's how the canceled dates works. Not a very important thing to use unless you really know that you're going to be out of pocket for a long time. To look at search for games now, and this is what Don was saying, is this is the main way to receive game assignments or consideration for game assignments right now. So I encourage you to read through this entire screen. Essentially what you want to do is utilize this whole area in here to narrow down the dates for which you want to search. So you can search for the end of the month, which is helpful early in the month like now. You can search for the next 7 days, or you can search for future months. So we're just going to do a search till the end of the month right now. You could narrow it down to, a weekend if you want. This is only going to show games for which you are age and level eligible. Okay, so I'm a level 4 official and I'm old, so I can see every game out there. All right. Some of you are young. You might be 15 years old. You're not going to see a game that is 16, 17, 18-year-olds or adults. Some of you are level 1s. You're only going to see games for which level 1 officials are eligible. So you're not going to see a midget level game. You're not going to see a AAA level game, for example, or a varsity game, because you simply just aren't experienced and aren't eligible yet by level. This screen shows you exactly the number of games that are available for which you are eligible. It also will highlight any games that you're already assigned for. So you can see here on this coming Wednesday, I'm assigned for a 650 game that's AAA, looks like Pee-wee's, and it'll show you your partner. Okay. This is where you can now go through here, look at the rink location, the time, the level, the game length, and you can see if there's 1 slot open or 2 slots open, and you can put in game requests. All right. So let's say I wanted to skate this Friday. Let's say I was eligible or able to go out to Pacific Rink on Friday afternoon, and I'm willing to be considered to work these 3 games. I simply click on those radio buttons, and you can click on as many as you want here in this entire thing. Look at all those games out there. That's just for this weekend. and you scroll to the bottom and you hit continue. Okay. It brings up a summary here of what you've just said you're likely available for, and you have to click submit one more time. Once you click submit, that triggers an email to Don and a text message now. He would know now that Andy Hudson has requested those 3 games. Okay. And then he would assign me to those games. Don, why don't you go ahead and assign me to one of those games just so we can see what it looks like when you get an assignment, please? Then you're going to have to unassign me. Is that okay, DA?
Yeah. Just gotta pull it up here.
Once you've been assigned a game, as soon as you log in, and I'm just going to go ahead and log out and log back in. Okay. As soon as you've been assigned a game, and Don Arias just assigned me a game, this is the screen that will come up. This is essentially saying Don Arias has assigned Andy Hudson a game. Now, I am not assigned for the game officially until I accept the assignment. All right. So I have to actually continue here to select the assignment. Before I do that, to Don's point earlier, if you put in for a game and then you go and you say no, that is telling Don that's giving Don the message that you may not be the most reliable person. Okay. Now we know life happens and there's going to be things that come up, but try not to be the person that puts in for games and then gets assigned them and then declines them. That Don's going to go, you're going to go down on Don's good guy list. You're probably going to move over to his not so reliable list, and you don't want to be there. You want to be on Don's good list. Okay, so if I get ready to accept this game, I'm going to hit continue, and I still have to submit confirmation one more time. Once I've done this confirmation, I have now accepted that assignment, and Don Arias knows that I am going to go officiate that game. But that's how you accept your assignments. Once you have an assignment, you can go to your schedule tab and you can say search for the next 7 days. And there it is. There's my Wednesday night game of this week. And there's that Big Bear tournament game on Friday at 5:15 p.m. Okay. It also shows you how much money you're going to make for that game. Let's see some other tips and tricks on search for games. Oh, here you go. So, Chris, I noticed that your camera's on, and if memory serves, you live kind of over on the east side, right?
I'm actually over by Wentzville.
Oh, you're by Wentzville. Pardon me. Okay, so I'm going to use you as an example, Chris. I hope you don't mind.
No problem.
So, Chris lives in Wentzville. All right, he's not that far from Maryville rink, which is in Chesterfield. And he's certainly close to all these Wentzville rinks. So he might say, well, I'd really prefer to work on the gold rink. Okay. But you could have multiple officials, Chris, put in for that, and there's only 2 slots. You could have 10, 15 people put in for it. So it is okay for you to also say, oh, I'm also willing to work here, and I'm willing to go to Chesterfield. It is okay to put overlapping requests in. Then when Don assigns you to Chesterfield, for example, you'd want to go back in and unclick your availability, which I can do on mine. That's that green one right there. Okay. And let's just unclick all of these. And that's saying I am taking off that availability altogether.
Gotcha.
Okay. So that's a good, Chris, thank you for being our example for that one. So
No
now
problem.
those are deleted requests. So some officials will just say, well, shoot, I didn't get assigned. Well, you only put in for 1 or 2 games at one rink. You can go ahead and put in for 2 or 3 games at 10 rinks if you really want to. And that's going to show Don that you're willing to go work wherever you like. So let's go to Bob. I'm going to unshare my screen. Bob, you share your screen. This is an example of the announcement screen, which will typically show when to put in calendars. So if you look on there and we're looking at, say, November, this is November 19th, but the point is that you want to get your calendar in on the 15th of the month prior. So in the case of November, it'd be October 15th, and then the schedules will be ready by the 26th, and then you have to confirm them by the 28th. Unfortunately, we can't show this for you live on screen, But let's go ahead to go to that calendar screen then, Bob.
Okay, so this is the first part where when you click on the date request link under schedule tab, you'll come up with this list of months. And so if I want to put in a calendar for November, then I would click on November, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
And when I do that, I see a calendar for November, and you see each date has 3 boxes. And if I come up here, I can see what those boxes mean. So box 1 is games that start before noon. Box 2 is games starting between noon and 6. And box 3 is games that start after 6. So in this example here, I think what Andy did, he went through and, for example, on the 5th, he said he is available after 6 p.m. Same thing on the 7th and these other dates. And then you see where we get to the weekend. Andy made himself available in the morning and the afternoon, but not in the evening. Whoops.
Mm-hmm.
So you just click, the times that you're available on the days that you want to work or can work. And when you click update, you'll see those boxes turn green on the days that you've selected.
To reiterate, especially this year, the search for games is going to be the main way for you to pick up game assignments. Somebody asked, so the schedulers control the quote unquote sanity of a schedule for an individual official. They'll make sure that you aren't double booked, etc. Somewhat, Mike, but there are occasions where you'll get double booked. So that's where you can go back in, and once you receive an assignment, you can go back in, and if you remember me unchecking that, go ahead and stop your share, Bob, unchecking that previous game request. So I'll show mine again here and just reiterate that. So if you go to search for games, search for the end of the month. So see now how this is red, Mike? That's because I've clicked and said I've unselected that game request. And so that would be a good practice using Chris's example for these Wentzville and Maryville. If he got assigned at Maryville, he'd want to go in and click red on any overlapping times at different rinks because he can't be in 2 places at once. Well, maybe you could be, Chris, but I doubt it. Yeah, right. You'd be the best official ever. Don would love you. So that's kind of an overview of that. All right.
You want to explain to them what that 73 is next to the red ones? That's how many hours. Once you put in for a game and then go back and say, no, I don't want that game, you can't put in for that game again for apparently 73 hours. That's how many hours until you can put in for that game again. So once you say you don't want that game, you can't request it again for 73 hours.
Okay. Finer points on this would be once you have a schedule, okay, you can, under this summary page down here, you can see the rink that you're on. You can see the levels. You can see the teams up here, obviously, but you can also see the contact information for your partner. So this would be a good practice to, like Don said, if you don't know where your partner is 20 minutes before game time, or in some cases 30 minutes before game time, depending on the level, you should get in touch with them ASAP. And if they say, oh, I'm walking in the rink, then you're golden. But if at 20 minutes you haven't talked to anybody, you need to get on the horn at the youth division to Don Arias immediately, because oftentimes he has people he knows that live right by that rink that he can call and say, get over there. Or there may be an official that's already in the building doing another game. So 20 minutes for all youth games, you need to call beforehand. Do not feel like you're ratting on your partner. Okay, it happens. People are late. It's about getting that game covered. Because if we have told a youth association we're going to put 2 officials on a game, and we don't do it, we get fined for that. We as the association get fined for not putting officials on, and we pass those fines on to our members sometimes if they are repeat offenders, especially. So just be cognizant of that. For scholastic games like varsity, you have to be there 45 minutes before the game, and you need to make your call 30 minutes before the game. Those are for some higher level games. I think that pretty much covers it for the basics. So let's move over to Bob Pugh now to talk a little bit about the mentorship programs, and I'm going to unshare there, Bob. So Bob, the floor is yours.
So the mentor program is something, we've been doing this for a while, but it really took off, I think, when Andy got involved with the development and education team, and he's really made great strides with that program. And our goal is, there's a couple of different phases to it, I guess. First of all, we really do want to get out on the ice with younger officials as they skate their first, 1 or 2 or 3 games, and help them with positioning and maybe a little bit of judgment, just kind of help them get through the game. So the way that you do that is you come to our website, myhoa.com, and under the development and education tab, you can see all the way down here at the bottom, it says mentor request. And if you click on that, you'll get a form that you can fill out with your name and your email and so on. And you can put the information in for your game. So if you know that you're working a game at 7 p.m. at Pacific, put that information in here and, just maybe leave us a comment. This is going to be my first game and I'd like some help. And we will do our best to get somebody out there to work with you. And please, we urge you to take advantage of this for you young officials. We want you to be successful and we want you to have fun, because if you have fun, I think you'll come back and you'll do it again. And if we can be out there to help you, to get through that game, I think that you will find that it's fun, and hopefully you'll come back for more. So please take advantage of this program. We like doing it as mentors. I know, speaking for myself, and I know Andy does a lot of this too. We enjoy getting out there and helping people do this, because we were all first-time officials once too, and that first game can be kind of intimidating. So please take advantage of this. You're not putting anybody out. We enjoy doing this. And then along with that, once you get past your first couple of games, we may continue to send supervisors out to some games, not necessarily just singling you out all the time, but we try to find the games with younger officials on them, and we'll send supervisors out to those games, maybe not to get on the ice with them, but just to watch the game, maybe stand in the scorer's box and talk to you in between periods about, things that we're seeing, maybe things we could do better, or things that you guys, did really well. Just try to give some encouragement. So we do that throughout the season too. I don't know, any other points on the mentor program, Andy?
No, I think that was a great summary, and the difference that it makes for having a mentor out with our young and new officials versus not is huge. So we are watching the schedule, like Bob mentioned, and looking for new officials anyway that are working their first games. But it would really help if you told us that you're working your first game, because as you could see earlier, there are a lot of games happening. So sometimes it slips through the cracks. And the more notice you can give us, the better. And our mentors are definitely there to help you. They do not call the game. They just go out and help you get into position. You have to make all the calls, but they help you get into position. They help give you some confidence, a pat on the back. And if there's a coach that maybe is acting a little bit, inappropriately, they can deflect some of that behavior from our young officials, which is crucial. Good job, Bob. I think that summarizes it very well.
I think, like you said, I mean, we don't come out there with our stripes on. We come out there in sweatsuits, and the coaches are all used to seeing us out there like this, especially at the lower levels. So we're just out there in sweats. We don't bring whistles. We're not going to call penalties or anything like that. We're just there to kind of shadow you and help you, tell you, get down to the goal line, or, that kind of stuff. So.
Okay. And there's a question from Cameron. What would happen if you, for some reason, can't make a game that you request a mentor for? Great question, Cameron. So obviously, if you get an assignment and it's your first game or first couple of games, and then for some reason something happens and you cancel that assignment for which you've already requested a mentor, we'd sure appreciate you letting us know too. Now, we're looking at the schedule every day, so we'd probably notice that you were replaced, but it would be great if you could let us know at the same time, and you could use that same form to do that if you needed to. With that, I think that pretty much concludes our session, unless anybody has any questions via chat, or now would be the time to open up your camera and your microphone to ask anything verbally. Don, do you have any closing thoughts?
No, I think the best advice I can give you guys is just get in there and try to select as many games as you can. And the more games you work, the more comfortable you'll get, the more mistakes you'll make, and you'll learn from the mistakes that you do make. So best of luck. Please feel free to contact me. If you don't have my contact information, please look on the myhoa.com website. It is right there. Thanks.
Okay. And Bob, any closing thoughts from you?
No, just, guys, we look forward to seeing you all out there. I hope you have fun with this, and please reach out to us through the mentor program and let us help you.
All right. And I will echo that comment to Bob as well. We love officiating, all of us. I know that you guys will enjoy officiating too. Stick with it. There are bumps in the road, but overall it's a great experience, and we're here to help you. Okay. With that concludes this session. Thanks, Bob. Thanks, Don. And thanks everybody for watching. Have a good night, guys.